Disclaimer: the story you are about to hear is a work of fiction. Names, characters, events, and incidents are products of the writer's imagination. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or real-life events is purely coincidental. This story is created only for entertainment purposes and aims to spread emotions, positivity, and life lessons through storytelling. Please do not associate it with any real individuals or events. Thank you for watching Golden Storytime, where every emotion becomes a story. Welcome to Golden Storytime, where every heart finds its story. Today's tale is about love, promises, and the magic of destiny. A story called The Promise Under the Rain. It was a cloudy evening. The rain had just started falling when Aarav saw Maya for the first time standing under a small umbrella near the bus stop. Her laughter mixed with the sound of raindrops. And in that moment, Aarav's world changed. He offered her his umbrella. She smiled and said softly, "Maya, it's okay. I love the rain." Days turned into weeks. They met again at the same bus stop. Same time, same rain. Slowly, friendship bloomed into love. Middle part, every evening became their little world, shared laughter, secret glances, and endless dreams. But fate had other plans. Maya's father got a job, transferred to another city. The night before she left, they met under the same rain-soaked sky. "Maya, promise me, no matter what happens, you'll wait for me here." Every year, on this same day, "Aarav, I promise." And she left. Years passed. Aarav came back to that same bus stop every year, rain or shine, waiting. People laughed. Friends moved on. But he didn't break his promise. Climax. One stormy evening, 5 years later, Aarav stood there again. Soaked in rain, he turned to leave and heard a voice behind him. "You still love the rain." He froze. It was her, Maya. Tears mixed with rain as they smiled, no words needed. The promise had been kept. Sometimes love doesn't need grand gestures, just faith, patience, and a promise under the rain. Because true love always finds its way back. If you felt the emotion of this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Golden Storytime for more heart-touching love stories. It was a cloudy evening, the kind where the sky hangs low, heavy with unspoken words. The rain had just begun its gentle descent when Aarav saw Maya for the first time. She was standing under a small, cherry-red umbrella near the bus stop, a splash of color in the graying world. Her head was tilted back, catching a raindrop on her tongue, and her laughter. Her laughter was a melody that danced with the patter of the rain. For Aarav, it was as if the entire city, with its hurried pace and blaring horns, had suddenly fallen silent. In that moment, there was only the rhythm of the rain and the sound of her joy. He didn't know why, but he felt an irresistible pull, a need to know the person who could find such pure happiness in a simple downpour. He walked over his own jacket, doing a poor job of shielding him from the increasing drizzle. "Mind if I share a bit of that dry spot?" he asked, a nervous smile playing on his lips. Maya looked at him, her eyes sparkling with amusement. "Only if you don't mind sharing a bit of the rain," she replied, her voice as soft as the evening mist. And just like that, under the shelter of a small, red umbrella, their story began. It wasn't a grand, cinematic meeting, but something far more real, something quiet and profound. Their conversation started small, like ripples in a puddle. They talked about the smell of the earth after rain, the books they loved, the dreams they chased in their sleep. Aarav learned that Maya was a painter, that she saw the world in shades of light and emotion he'd never noticed before. She could describe the color of a sad song or the texture of a happy memory. Maya discovered that Aarav was an architect, a man who built structures but dreamed of creating spaces that held stories, that felt like home. They found a shared language in their passions, a mutual understanding that went beyond words. Every evening, they would meet at that same bus stop, sometimes sharing an umbrella, sometimes just walking in the rain, letting it wash over them. The city, which once felt vast and anonymous to Aarav, now felt intimate, each street corner holding a memory of their shared laughter or quiet conversation. He'd bring her hot tea in a thermos. She'd show him sketches she'd made during the day. These weren't grand gestures, but small, consistent acts of care that wove their lives together, thread by delicate thread. Their connection wasn't a spark. It was a slow, steady flame, warming them from the inside out. They were building a world of their own, one rainy evening at a time. Then, one evening, the rain felt different. It was colder, heavier. Maya was quieter than usual, her gaze lost somewhere in the glistening pavement. With a trembling voice, she told him she had to leave. A family matter, an obligation she couldn't escape, was pulling her to a city on the other side of the country. There was no timeline, no promise of a return date. The news hung in the air between them, heavy and suffocating, like the storm clouds overhead. The world they had so carefully built together suddenly felt fragile, threatened by the winds of change. Aarav felt a familiar hollowness, the kind he thought he had left behind. The city, which had become their playground, their sanctuary, once again felt like a lonely labyrinth. "We just found each other," he managed to say, the words catching in his throat. Maya's eyes welled with tears, each one a tiny reflection of the streetlights. "I know," she whispered. "This isn't how I wanted our story to go." The future, which had seemed so bright and full of promise just moments before, was now a frightening, uncertain void. The rain that had brought them together now seemed to be mourning their impending separation. On her last day, they returned to the bus stop. The rain was soft, a melancholic drizzle. He held her hand, tracing the lines on her palm as if trying to memorize her touch. "I'll wait for you," he said, his voice firm, a declaration against the uncertainty. "Every year, on this exact day, I'll be right here at this time. Whether it's raining or shining, I'll be here." It was a bold, almost reckless promise, born from a love that felt too real to let go. Maya looked at him, her heart aching with a mix of love and sorrow. "Aarav, ... double quotes," she started, but he shook his head gently. "It's not a burden," he insisted. "It's a promise that what we have is worth waiting for." She leaned in and kissed him, a kiss that tasted of rain, salt, and the bittersweet pain of goodbye. It was a promise sealed not with words, but with a hope that transcended distance. The first year was the hardest. Every cloudy day, every drop of rain, was a sharp reminder of her absence. The city felt muted. The colors Maya had taught him to see now faded back to gray. But he held on to his promise. As the anniversary approached, a nervous energy buzzed within him. He stood at the bus stop, his heart pounding with a mixture of hope and fear. He waited. Cars splashed by. People hurried past under their own umbrellas. But Maya didn't appear. Disappointment was a cold stone in his stomach. But as he stood there, watching the rain fall, he remembered his vow. It wasn't just about her returning. It was about honoring the love they shared. Year after year, Aarav kept his vigil. Friends told him he was being foolish, that he should move on. Life is for the living, they'd say. But for Aarav, this annual ritual was a part of living. It was an anchor, a testament to a connection that had reshaped his world. He would stand at the bus stop, sometimes for an hour, sometimes longer, watching the world go by. He'd think about Maya, wondering where she was, if she ever thought of him, if she remembered their rainy evenings. The wait became a part of him, a quiet, solitary act of faith. It wasn't about waiting for someone to complete him, but about holding a space for a love that had made him feel whole. The promise was no longer just for her. It was for himself, a reminder of the man he wanted to be. Man who keeps his word. 5 years. 5 years of rain and shine, of hope and quiet acceptance. Aarav was now a successful architect, known for designs that felt both modern and soulful. He had poured his longing, his patience, and his unwavering hope into his work. On the 5th anniversary, he walked to the bus stop with a sense of calm he hadn't felt before. He had made peace with the waiting. The promise was now a cherished tradition, a moment to connect with the memory that had defined his youth. The evening was cloudy, the air thick with the promise of rain, and just as the first drops began to fall, he saw a familiar silhouette. Standing under a small, cherry-red umbrella was a woman, her head tilted back, a soft smile on her face as she looked up at the sky. His heart stopped. It couldn't be. He took a hesitant step forward, then another. As he got closer, she turned, and their eyes met. It was Maya. She looked different. Years had etched a new maturity on her face, but her eyes, they held the same light, the same soul he had fallen in love with. "You waited," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. The sound was a melody he had replayed in his mind 1,000 times. He could only nod, a lump forming in his throat. "I promised," he finally managed to say. The rain began to fall harder, washing over them, but this time it felt like a celebration. It was the same rain, at the same spot, under the same cloudy sky. Destiny, it seemed, had a flair for the dramatic. She closed the distance between them, stepping under his jacket, just as he had stepped under her umbrella all those years ago. In that moment, the 5 years of waiting, the loneliness, the uncertainty, it all melted away, replaced by a profound and beautiful truth. Some promises are unbreakable, and some love stories are simply meant to be, written in the rain. Thank you so much for watching our story today. If you believe in love that stands the test of time, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more tales that touch the heart. We'd love to have you with us. Until next time.